Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. Look, we're diving straight into something I think is absolutely a game changer, using AI as your ultimate study buddy. We are way past treating AI like just some generic robotic chatbot. Today, we're going to talk about how to transform it into a highly personalized, incredibly powerful study tool. We're actually pulling techniques directly from the Learn Prompting curriculum to show you exactly how to decode confusing jargon and whip up custom practice tests literally on the fly. So let's jump right in.
Okay, picture this. You're super motivated, right? You sit down with a dense textbook or a research paper, you're making awesome progress, and then, bam, you hit an absolute brick wall. You stumble onto a sentence or some weird terminology that completely stops you in your tracks. Usually you'd try searching for it online, but let's be real, you generally just end up drowning in 10 other academic articles that are even more confusing. It's incredibly frustrating, and it is exactly the point where a lot of late-night study sessions just kind of grind to a halt.
To show you exactly what I mean by this, check out this quote. It's an actual passage from a 2002 biology textbook about cacti. Sander Schulhoff, he's the creator of the curriculum we're exploring today, he actually ran into this exact sentence while he was studying. Ready? It reads, because of adaptations to xeric conditions and the presence of less derived woods in Paraskeodia IA, the Cactaceae is one of the most interesting families. I mean, come on! For most of us, a phrase like less derived woods means absolutely nothing. And if you try a standard internet search for that, you're probably just going to pull up a mountain of botany research you definitely do not have time to read.
So how do we actually get past a roadblock like that? Well, instead of just giving up or falling down a giant search engine rabbit hole, we can transition from passive confusion to active problem solving using an unbelievably simple AI prompt. You do not need some crazy complex formula here. You literally just paste that dense passage straight into your AI and you follow it up with a direct question. What do less derived woods mean? You're just giving it the context and asking for the translation.
And look at the plain English output it spits back instantly. It breaks it down, explaining that less derived woods is just the ancestral or primitive form of wood found in early plant evolution, lacking specialized structures. It even goes a step further and gives you context based on the passage you fed it, noting that this primitive wood is an adaptation to humid, less dry environments. I mean, just think about the efficiency here. With one ridiculously simple prompt, you get instant contextual clarification. You can get right back to reading your textbook without losing any of your momentum. Now, decoding terms on the fly is fantastic for comprehension, for sure. But as we all know, just reading something isn't enough to actually retain it. To truly master a subject, you have to move from passive reading to active recall. You've got to test your knowledge. But instead of spending hours making flashcards or hunting around for decent practice tests online, you can just use AI as your personal, on-demand tutor.
Imagine you've got a tough exam coming up, something like calculus. You really don't need to overthink the prompt here. The source material shows us that a brief one-sentence instruction is usually all you need. You literally just type, generate 5 calculus I quiz questions for me. That's it. Simple, right?
And within seconds, the AI hands you a highly relevant, targeted practice test. It's asking for the derivative of y equals x cubed, an indefinite integral, the product rule, the whole shebang. The speed here, that rapid input-to-output turnaround, is really what makes this such an incredibly efficient way to study. You can take this mini quiz, quickly figure out where your weak spots are, and then, here's the best part, you can just ask the AI to explain the step-by-step solutions for any questions you might have missed. Now, generating those general quizzes is awesome for standardized subjects like calculus. But what if you're studying something hyper-specific, like maybe it's tailored exactly to your professor's lectures or a very specific college course? Well, that is where we start leveling up our prompts by feeding the AI personal context. This example right here brilliantly shows that concept in action. Take a look at these raw, messy notes on the left from a marketing class. It's just a totally unstructured, bulleted list covering the 4 Ps, B2B versus B2C, and some pricing strategies. Now, you take those messy notes, paste them right into the AI, and say, generate 5 marketing quiz questions based on my notes. Look at the results on the right. The AI builds a perfectly structured, totally actionable quiz based strictly on the material your professor actually taught you. You've essentially just turned a messy notebook into an interactive study guide in about 3 seconds. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, are these just random tips from some internet forum? Absolutely not. It is super important to understand the massive credibility behind the Learn Prompting platform, just to prove that these are real, expert-backed methodologies. So who exactly is behind these prompting techniques? 3 million. That is the incredible number of people who have been taught how to prompt by Sander Schulhoff, the creator of the Learn Prompting platform. And what's truly wild about this is that Sander actually created the internet's first prompt engineering guide 2 full months before ChatGPT was even released to the public. Talk about being ahead of the curve.
Sander is the CEO of both Hack-a-Prompt and Learn Prompting, and he has a serious background in natural language processing and deep reinforcement learning. But his expertise isn't just academic theory, you know? He actually partnered with OpenAI to run the very first AI red teaming competition, which is basically stress testing the AI for vulnerabilities. And get this, his event was literally twice the size of the White House's subsequent AI red teaming competition. Today, his organization is partnering directly with the biggest frontier AI labs out there to produce research that makes these massive models more secure.
Which brings us to the number 76. That is the page count of the prompt report. This was a massive, incredibly comprehensive survey led by Schulhoff and co-authored alongside folks from OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, Princeton, and Stanford. They analyzed over 1,500 academic papers covering more than 200 distinct prompting techniques just to validate the absolute best ways to interact with AI. So those simple, effective study techniques we just went over, they aren't guesses. They are grounded in this exact foundation of world-class, rigorous research. So I want to leave you with this final thought. When it comes to learning, AI is a tool of just unprecedented power. It can decode the most impossible jargon, and it can turn your messiest, most chaotic notes into personalized study sessions in the literal blink of an eye. The real question is, will you use AI to just do the work for you, or will you use it to help you do the work better? I challenge you to try feeding your next reading assignment or a page of class notes into an LLM today, and just see for yourself how much faster you learn. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.